start with that, and then somebody else can get Hebrews,
Let me say,
the 3rd chapter.
Okay, I got Hebrews. Oh, you got to count. Okay. Page all stuck together.
Spirit. I didn't know you was going into this, and I was looking at 2 Corinthians chapter 3 this morning. That's the spirit how you going into this, because I was looking into 2 Corinthians the 3rd chapter this morning.
Okay. Well, that's the spirit. I mean, we'll talk about it, and then I want to go and read that story. I know the brother, the priest, Sha'ar, likes to go into the Old Testament. The Old Testament, and this is what something I like to tell. I talk about with Elder Yashawamba how the law was a template, right?
Come.
The law was a template of how to judge and how to grow the business of a kingdom. You see what I'm saying? It gave a glimpse of the mind of the Heavenly Father, right? It gave a picture. You know, a picture is 2D, right? It can show you certain things. But real life is the spirit, right? It's 3D. The law was a 2D image of the mind of the Heavenly Father and how to judge righteously. The intention of the law was to be a guidebook for judgment and rulership and growing. All right? The actual vision given to Moses, you know, and the power of seeing it, he can only translate to the best of his ability within the law. Right? And so the story of how he was speaking with Yahweh Shem Yahushua, coming back to people with a veil over his face, is powerful. Right? Because what does that mean? They couldn't fully see or perceive that glory, that understanding, that power. Right? But he was face to face talking with Yahweh Shem Yahushua. It's different from getting a story face to face and then getting it secondhand. Right? So the law, the Levitical priesthood, is kind of a second-hand story of a face-to-face relationship that the Most High really wants us to have.
Okay.
See what I'm saying?
Right.
And so, as a matter of fact, let's start with Hebrews 3rd chapter. And then we'll go into 2 Corinthians 3. And then we'll start the story.
All right.
Let me see. Let me check.
This is Hebrews chapter 3, verse 1. Wherefore, holy brethren, partakers of the heavenly calling, consider the apostle and high priest of our profession, Hamashiach Yahushua.
Consider it. All right.
Who was faithful to him that appointed him, as also Moses was faithful in all his house.
Right? So now we're using Moses as a way to understand something spiritual. Right? That's why the Old Testament is so important. That's why the brother Sha'ar loves to go into those stories. Why? Because these concepts in the Old Testament can give us building blocks to understand spiritual concepts. Right? And that's what Hebrews 3 is about to explain. Go ahead.
All right. Hebrews 3, verse 3. For this man was counted worthy of more glory than Moses.
Yahweh Hamashiach was counted more glory. He was worthy for more glory than Moses. Go ahead.
Inasmuch as he who had builded the house had more honor than the house. You see?
You see what I'm saying?
Right. Bro.
Go ahead.
All right. Verse 4. For every house is builded by some man, but he that built all things is the Most High. And Moses verily was faithful in all his house as a servant for a testimony of those things which were to be spoken after.
As a testimony of those things which will be spoken thereafter. You understand that? Let's stop real quick. Let's go to Exodus, the 34th chapter, and the 29th verse. And let's read some of the glory given to Moses so we can better understand the worthiness
God.
of Yahweh Shah HaMashiach.
Come.
Right? Is this making sense?
Come.
Mhm.
Okay.
This is Exodus chapter 34, verse 29.
Uh-huh.
And it came to pass when Moses came down from Mount Sinai with the 2 tables of the testimony in Moses' hand, when he came down from the
So
mount.
he came down. Now picture it. You brothers that's listening to this audio, that's listening to this lesson that's being recorded, we're reading these words. Picture it in your mind so you can have a full concept. He's coming back down from Mount Sinai.
Because they thought he was gone.
Yeah, he was gone for a minute.
They thought he was gone. Yep.
So if you read in the previous chapter, they were wilding out,
Right.
making calves, tripping.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
That Moses was not that the skin of his face shone while he talked with him. And when Aaron and all the children of Israel saw Moses, behold, the skin of his face shone, and they were afraid to come nigh him.
Now read 29 again.
Come. Exodus 34 and 29. And it came to pass, when Moses came down from Mount Sinai
When he came down from Mount Sinai, go ahead.
with the 2 tables of the testimony in Moses' hand when he came down from Mount Sinai, I'm sorry, when he came down from Mount Sinai, that Moses was not that his skin of his face shone.
He wished not that his skin of his face shone. He didn't want them to see him. Right? Go ahead.
While he talked with him. And when Aaron and all the children of Israel saw Moses, behold, the skin of his face shone, and they were afraid to come nigh him.
They were afraid. Go ahead.
And
So-
Moses,
I have a quick question. So like when the verse 29 it says it was not that his skin on his face shown, was it meaning like Moses when he was speaking with the Most High, he didn't recognize that his face was showing to the Most High as he was talking to him?
Yeah, because he was face to face with Yahweh Shah. Man, that glory was upon him. So when he came down, he was shining. And we're gonna get a little bit more of that when we read Corinthians to unpack that. We're gonna unpack that in Corinthians. Okay? Right now we just wanna get the story. Okay?
verse 30. And when Aaron and all the children of Israel saw Moses, behold, the skin of his face shone, and they were afraid to come nigh him.
Go ahead.
And Moses called unto them, and Aaron and all the rulers of the congregation returned unto him, and Moses talked with them. And afterward all the children of Israel came nigh, and he gave them in commandment all that Yahweh had spoken with him in Mount Sinai. Until Moses had done speaking with them, he put a veil on his face.
Until he had done speaking with him, but then he put a veil on his face. Okay? Remember that part,
Come.
right? Go ahead.
But when Moses went in before Yahweh to speak with him, he took the veil off.
He took the veil off when he went to go into the presence of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. Go ahead.
Until he came out. And he came out and spake to the children of Israel in which he was commanded. And the
So when
children
he came out, he what? What did he do when he spoke with them?
Then he put it back on. Verse 35. And the children of Israel saw the face of Moses, that the skin of Moses' face shone. And Moses put the veil upon his face again, and he went to speak with him. And, that's the end of that chapter.
Boom. So now go to Deuteronomy chapter 5, verse 1.
It's the book of Deuteronomy chapter 5 verse 1. And Moses called all Israel and said unto them, Hear, O Israel, the statutes and judgments which I speak in your ears this day, that ye may learn them and keep and do them. Yahweh our power made a covenant with us in Horeb. Yahweh made not this covenant with our fathers, but with us, even us, who are all of us here alive this day. Yahweh talked with you face to face in the mount out of the midst of the fire, and I stood between Yahweh and you at that time to show you the word of Yahweh.
Boom. So he spoke with the Most High face to face. He got to see these things. He got first-hand understanding, first-hand knowledge, right? Ain't that dope?
Yeah, man.
Okay. Now, real quick, let me see how long I'm on this. You know what? I don't want to transition too much. Let's go back to 2 Corinthians chapter 3. Start at verse 3.
This is 2 Corinthians 3:3. It says, "For as much as ye are manifestly declared to be the epistle of Hamashiach, ministered by us, written not with ink, but with the Spirit of the living power, not in tables of stone, but in fleshly tables of the heart."
Because how do you understand prophecy?
Gotta understand history, understand prophecy.
You gotta understand. You only can receive prophecy through faith, because it's something that you're saying before it happens. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
It has to be the Spirit supping with you. Okay? Because prophecy ain't history. Prophecy is yet to come.
Yep.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when we're talking about these things, when people are raising up in the spirit of the Most High in belief, you're literally fulfilling prophecy. Ye are our epistle.
Right.
As you believe and wake up into this truth, you literally are fulfilling prophecy. Ye are our epistle. See what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Yep.
All right, us coming into this class, going out on highways and byways is a part of prophecy.
That's right.
It's
That's
powerful.
Right. Those signs and wonders. Come.
You did that lesson on heraldry, on being a herald. You know, like we said, every good story has a herald in it.
Right.
You play a video game, it's got always weird people standing outside the city being a herald.
Right.
You know, you play Assassin's Creed, you got the heralds in the city.
Right.
They always play an integral part.
Yeah.
You know, doom and gloom is coming.
Yep.
You know,
That's right.
we are those heralds within the story. I say all that to say this. So the power of this ministry of things being given, the Most High, supping with you face to face or within your mind, and then you go what? You go teach the people. There's power within there. There's glory within there. There's a relationship being established between the prophets, the people, and the Heavenly Father. All right? So let's keep reading on this.
This is back in 2 Corinthians 3:4. It says, "And such trust."
And we doing this off the top of the dome through the Spirit. Go ahead.
"And such trust have we through Hamashiach to the Most High, not that we are sufficient of ourselves to think anything as ourselves, but our sufficiency is of the Most High, who also hath made us able ministers of the New Testament, not of the letter, but of the Spirit."
Boom. And so what was the first? What was the Old Testament?
That's the letter.
The letter.
When was it given?
Time Moses.
When Moses came down off that mount, right? And he had to do what? To talk to the people.
Right.
All right, go ahead.
It says, "For the letter killeth, but the Spirit giveth life. But if the ministration of death written and engraven in stones was glorious, so that the children of Israel could not steadfastly behold the face of Moses for the glory of his countenance, which glory was to be done away. How shall not the ministration of the Spirit be rather glorious?"
Read it again.
It says 2 Corinthians 3:7. It says,
Start at 6. Baba Hushai.
2 Corinthians 3:6. "Who also hath made us able ministers of the New Testament, not of the letter, but of the Spirit. For the letter killeth, but the Spirit giveth life."
Why does the letter kill?
Because
you held accountable to those laws.
Sin is death.
That's right, and so we broke that old covenant, right? So to go by that old letter was a death sentence.
Right.
Because to break the law, what was the punishment?
Death.
Absolutely. Okay.
Back Romans chapter 3, verse 20. "Therefore by the deeds of the law there shall no flesh be justified in his sight, for by the law is the knowledge of sin."
For by the law is the knowledge of sin. There you go, champ.
That was
There it is.
Boom. Go back to 2 Corinthians.
Mm-hmm.
This is back in 2 Corinthians 3:7. It says, "But if the ministration of death written and engraven in stones was glorious, so that the children of Israel could not steadfastly behold the face of Moses, for the glory of his countenance, which glory was to be done away."
Stop. All right. So that's a lot packed into one verse.
Right.
But if the ministration of death, written, engraven in stones, we talked about the 2 stones that Moses had, right? So, but it was, what was it called? He's calling it the ministration of death. I mean, this this servitude
Oh, wow.
of death, right? It was written on stone. It was glorious.
Right.
How do we know that? What was the example of it being glorious?
Moses'
Yeah,
His face shine.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So the ministration of death, written and engraven in stones, was glorious, so that the children of Israel could not steadfastly behold the face of Moses.
Right.
See that?
Yeah.
For the glory of his countenance, his face, mean, that relationship, that conversation, that that wisdom that was given to him caused what? His face to shine. What is that? Ecclesiastes 8.
Yep.
Right? Which glory was to be done away with.
It was already written. It was
Because what do we read in Hebrews the 3rd chapter?
Yep.
It was a similitude for things yet to come. It was already, the Most High knew that He only set this up to be a template of understanding
Right.
for a dispensation of time. He already knew that was a failed project.
Man.
But I'm gonna use this so that they can get a kind of an understanding of me and who I am.
Goodness gracious. Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
I got a precept.
Go ahead, Chad.
This is Hebrews chapter 8. I'm gonna start at verse 5.
Yep.
I'm gonna start at verse 4 actually. 4 is verse 6. For if he were on earth, he should not be a priest, saying that there are priests that offer the gifts according to the law, who serve unto the example and shadow of heavenly things, as Moses was admonished of the Most High when he was about to make the tabernacle. For see, saith he, that thou make all things according to the pattern shown to thee in the mount.
That's where I wanted to get. What is that? Is that in Exodus 25?
Exodus 25.
What is that?
Yeah, that's Exodus 25.
Pull it.
While you getting that, I got a quick one too. Hebrews 10:1. For the law having a shadow of good things to come, and not the very image of the thing, can never with those sacrifices which they offered year by year continually make the commerce thereunto perfect.
Now read that again.
Come. Hebrews 10:1. For the law having a shadow of good things to come.
The law had a shadow of good things to come. What is a shadow?
So then it comes forward.
Right. It's kind of like a image of the actual
Right.
thing. It's not the full.
Look at your
image.
arm.
This is a shadow.
Yeah.
See that?
It ain't you.
It ain't me, but it kind of gives you an idea
Right.
of how big it is, what it's supposed to be. That the law was just a template of what the Most High wanted.
The image of
It was
the
just a
light
shadow.
source.
It wasn't the fullness of what it was. A 2D image. It was 2D.
Right.
The Most High is taking us into a 3D realm with His
Right.
knowledge through Yahweh Shah. A 3D experience, a face-to-face experience. Okay, He's unveiling Himself to us through the Spirit of Yahweh Shah.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Whenever you have a veil and a person standing behind it, what do you see?
You see that shadow?
You see a shadow.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? It's a tease.
Yeah.
You know how the stripper might have the veil and she's behind the veil doing all this? It's just teasing you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The Most High gave us a teaser.
Yeah.
It was a trailer of what He really, really wanted.
Right.
The trailer can't give you the full movie. That's what the law really was for us.
Yeah.
It was a template of a kingdom.
Right.
And He showed Moses that pattern of what He wanted in the heavens.
Right.
And then He's like, okay, try to duplicate that. And he's like,
Right.
I'm trying, Lord. You people crazy.
Gone.
You know?
And Moses smashed those tablets after he saw them, so it had to be rewritten. And then, you know, if it's not as perfect as the first time, you know. So we read that and it's like we're taking it so literal, you know, which is supposed to be taken literal in certain things. But at the end of the day, we didn't receive the spirituality of it back then. You know.
That's heavy. That's heavy.
Gone.
No, I want to go back to that in Hebrews 8 that you read.
Okay. This is Hebrews chapter 8. I'm going to read verse 5 again. It says, who serve unto the example and shadow of heavenly things, as Moses was admonished of Yahweh when he was about to make the tabernacle. For, see, saith he, that thou make all things according to the pattern shown to thee in the mount. But, I'm sorry, I thought you said something. Verse 6, but now hath he obtained a more excellent ministry, by how much also he is the mediator of a better covenant, which was established upon better promises.
Boom. 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 Yeah, and you know, for the brothers that's listening to this lesson, you can go and read about that in Exodus the 25th chapter. We're not gonna go read it because, you know, basically he went up into the mount and it was a fire. It was a chariot. And he was in the presence of the glory. That's why I said the chariots are likened to the glory of the Heavenly Father. It's the presence of that spirit, right? So that fire had covered the mount, right? Moses went up in that thing and was receiving instruction. He got to see the actual vision of what the tabernacle was supposed to look like, how it was supposed to be set up. And Moses said, I want you to do this after the pattern of what you see. Okay? And so he went and came back to give the template of what he wanted. See, and so the story of Moses, our forefather Moses, is very, very powerful. Very, very, very powerful. Okay? And now the completeness of it is supposed to be within us.
Right.
And that's what Yahushua came to express and to show. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Okay? So we read that in Hebrews 8. We read that in Hebrews 10. We're in 2 Corinthians, the 3rd chapter still, right?
Yeah. And now I'm still holding Hebrews 3rd chapter.
You still holding Hebrews, the 3rd chapter. Good. We'll come back to that.
Okay.
I want to still go back to, you know what, pull just for a precept, because I know you don't like it. Mark 15.
Mark 15. I'm already here. Where do we start? Top.
No, 37.
This is the book of St. Mark, chapter 15, verse 37. It says, and Yahushua cried with a loud voice and gave up the ghost.
Mm-hmm.
And the veil of the temple was rent and swing from the top to the bottom.
What did that veil represent?
That veil represent pretty much, that veil was that covered the holies of holies pretty much. That was access that only the high priest was allowed to go into to, you know, talk to the Lord.
Boom. And so the high priest was allowed to go into the veil of the temple. And what was within the veil of the temple?
The holies of holies.
The holies of holies, where you had what?
The
The Ark of the Covenant. The chariot was sitting on top of the tabernacle, wasn't it?
Right.
Who do you think it was flowing that energy into? It was flowing that energy into the holies of holies, where you can actually speak face to face.
Sure, man, right there. The glory right there.
The glory was right there, always. You remember when they talked about the tabernacle? Where did the cloud sit?
Yeah, right there.
Remember that story. It's heavy. The story is that chariot was over the top of that tabernacle.
Wow.
Flowing into the holies of holies. And they would go into the veil of the temple to get the judgment of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, then they come back and tell the people. You see what I'm saying? Y'all following me?
We were in the wilderness and it was a cloud by day, pillar of fire by night. That was probably the same chariot that was right there. It was carrying the tabernacle.
They didn't move until the chariot moved.
Right when the
They
chariot
stayed
stopped.
in that place, and the chariot would scatter the enemies, and then it was set up. Go back and read the story when the Israelites left out of Egypt. Go back and read with a mind to be very detailed when you read it. Go back and read it. And remember that chariot. We can pull it real quick.
Man.
Be nerdy about it.
Let's get it. Yeah, let's get it.
Exodus 13. And then somebody grab Exodus 40 and 38.
I'll get Exodus 40.
Get Exodus 13 and 21, yeah.
This is Exodus chapter 13, verse 21.
Mm-hmm.
And Yahweh went before them by day in a pillar of a cloud
Mm-hmm.
to lead them the way,
Mm-hmm.
and by night in a pillar of fire to give them light,
Mm-hmm.
to go by day and night.
To go by day and night. Go ahead.
He took not away the pillar of the cloud by day, nor the pillar of fire by night from before the people.
Boom. Now stop. Go to Exodus 40 and
I'm in Exodus 40.
start at 32.
All right. This is Exodus chapter 40, verse 32. When they went into the tent of the congregation.
You know what? Start at 1 real quick, and then we'll skip down.
All right. This is Exodus chapter 40, verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, On the first day of the first month shalt thou set up the tabernacles of the tent of the congregation.
First day of the first month, you set it on the new moon. New moon carry weight. Go ahead.
Verse 3, And thou shalt put therein the ark of the testimony, and cover the ark with the veil.
You will cover the ark with the veil.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Damn, that glory.
Bro.
I don't even know laugh, my man.
I told you something.
I see you, bro.
Exodus 40 and 4.
Dang.
And thou shalt bring in the table and set it in order the things that are to be set in order upon it, and thou shalt bring in the candlestick.
Mm-hmm.
And
now
the,
skip down to 9.
all right, verse 9. And thou shalt take the anointing oil and anoint the tabernacle and all that is therein, and shalt hallow it, and all the vessels thereof, and it shall be holy.
Stop. Skip down. Go to 30.
All right. This is Exodus chapter.
No, start at go to 26.
This is Exodus chapter 40, verse 26.
Go ahead.
And he put the golden altar in the tent of the congregation before the veil,
Mm-hmm.
and he burnt sweet incense thereon, as the Lord commanded Moses. And he set up the hanging at the door of the tabernacle.
So we are the stones. We anoint ourselves with this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, and hallow ourselves. We commit ourselves to the sweet savor and burn the incense by what? Our mouths, speaking, putting up those odors to the Heavenly Father. We are the tabernacle and setting it up, and all these things are happening within ourselves through the Spirit of Yahweh Shah. Why? So when you get down to the bottom, you gonna read why. All these things have to be done within the altar. Okay? Read.
Verse 29. And he put the altar of burnt offering by the door of the tabernacle of the tent of the congregation.
Moses was a similitude for what the Most High really, it was a shadow of what the Most High really wanted to be happening here.
Right.
Within us. Go ahead.
And offered upon it the burnt offering and the meat offering as the Lord commanded Moses. Verse 30. And he set the lever between the tent of the congregation and the altar, and put water there to wash withal.
Go ahead.
And Moses and Aaron and his sons washed their hands and their feet thereat. When they went into the tent of the congregation, and when they came near unto the altar, they washed, and as the Lord commanded Moses.
Go ahead, champ.
And he reared up the court, round about the tabernacle and the altar, and set up the hanging of the court gate. So Moses finished the work.
And when you go into that washing of the feet too, that's keep thy feet when I go to the house of the Lord. You know what I'm saying? Washing your feet. You know what I'm saying? That's like a sign of pretty much respect when you go into the house. Just as a
How beautiful are the feet of them that what? Bring glad tidings.
That's right. That's right.
Yep, I was saying that you notice in the vision, the feet was burnt like brass. They seen his feet. Right?
Yep.
All right. This is verse 34. Exodus 40 and 34.
Go ahead, champ.
Then a cloud covered the tent of the congregation, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle.
And the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. Okay?
Wow.
The glory of the Lord filled it.
Then a cloud covered the tent, right?
Right?
And then what happened? The glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. Go ahead, champ.
Verse 35.
Chariots was always there, bro.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you right now, man, that's why I didn't really understand this. You know who helped me understand this? The Elder Arianizer. The Elder Arianizer is very serious about recognizing that the chariots is here. If you can't understand that, your faith is small.
Right.
The chariots is here, bro. How you think we get this understanding? They're here.
Right.
Yeah.
The chariots is here.
Hey.
Don't get it twisted.
That's right.
Yeah.
Them chariots is here. Okay?
You remember we was talking about it at camp yesterday.
Alright, think I know what you about to say.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about,
I don't know if you
bro.
about to
Let's
say
go
it.
into it in Revelation. We talking about how Revelation 14, the angel spews forth the gospel unto us and gives us the understanding. That's that cloud. That's like that cloud of
chariots.
Bro.
The angels is coming down and
Bro.
supping with us, man.
Woo.
They supping with us, man, to get this knowledge, man.
Man.
Okay?
Glory, yo.
How you think you gonna get what to go tell the people? That process was set in the heavens, man. That's a heavenly process.
Man.
Okay?
Yep.
So I want you to call it and read it at verse 34 again.
All right, this is Exodus 40, verse 34.
And you brothers that's listening to this on the audio, picture this in your mind of the tabernacle. They went and set up the tabernacle. They did all these things, had the sacrifices, everything like that. Then the chariot came down, man, and put his glory in.
Yeah.
Call it and read it.
This is Exodus 40 and 34. Then a cloud covered the tent of the congregation, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle.
And the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle.
And Moses was not able to enter into the tent of the congregation because the cloud abode thereon, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle.
Boom. That's heavy.
Man.
So he couldn't go in there.
That's heavy. That's how powerful
Nobody
that's how
could.
powerful that was.
That happened during the time of King Solomon and Kings when he.
I was thinking about that just
rededicated
now,
his
bro.
temple.
I was.
And then the glory, the same thing.
Yeah.
The chariot was there.
Yeah.
Because it talked about the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle.
Mhm.
That's what it's talking about. It said even the highest of the priests, nobody could enter.
Nobody could enter.
Yo.
Bro, you would disintegrate.
Yo.
You would disintegrate.
Right.
You would die.
Yo,
That's why Yahushua, when he died, that's why it talks about how he has entered into holy places made without hands.
Mm-hmm.
To be at the right hand of Yahweh and be that intercessor for us. He was able to enter in. Nobody else could. He was able to enter in.
That's why the scriptures are worthy is the Lamb.
Amen.
Worthy is the bro.